Hey everyone, it's Rich Bennett. Can you believe it? The show is turning 10 this year. I am so grateful for each and every one of you who've tuned in, shared an episode, or even joined the conversation over the years. You're the reason that this podcast has grown into what it is today. Together, we've shared laughs, tears, and moments that truly matter. So I want to thank you for being part of this journey. Let's make the next 10 years even better.
Coming to you from the Freedom Federal Credit Union Studios, Harford County Living presents Conversations with Rich Bennett.
Slow pitch
It's probably the least sexy part of the
It's okay. No. The truth is,
from the magic of Sesame Street to the bright lights of the Emmy stage, Jordan Geary has spent over 2 decades shaping the stories that captivate children and families around the world. As an Emmy Award-winning creative producer, author, and media executive, Jordan's fingerprints are on some of the most beloved shows of our time. Ghostwriter, Helpsters, Mecha Builders, Bees Block, and hundreds of Sesame Studio shorts. His work isn't just entertainment. It's innovation, education, and joy wrapped in unforgettable storytelling. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on how Jordan brings these worlds to life, the lessons he's learned from the creative front lines, and why he believes storytelling can change the way we see the world. And something tells me he is going to be helping a lot of people see the changes in the world with storytelling. So this is going to be an inspiring conversation you don't want to miss. So make sure you grab your coffee, your tea, you little ones, grab your juice, grab your milk, grab whatever, and sit back. You're going to learn a lot. How's it going, Jordan?
It is going great. So as you can hear in my voice, I'm recovering from COVID right now. So I know that podcasting is an audio medium. I apologize to everybody for having to listen to this raspy voice, unless you're into raspy voices, and then you're welcome, So I'm super excited to be here. And I just got to say, you have the greatest facial hair I have ever seen.
Oh,
I mean, I implore your listeners to please just go on to his social media, just check this out, because I'm in awe right now.
Well, thank you. Here's the funny thing. Some people, because I record in person a lot too, and some people will go on and they'll go to the Conversations with Rich Bennett Facebook page or website, and then they see me and they're like, you look nothing like what's on your social media or website.
Yep.
It's like, well, because what I do is, most of you know I play Santa Claus professionally. So after Christmas, all this comes off.
Oh.
And then I don't start growing it until June, the beginning of June.
That's it.
Except for the mustache this year. The mustache I started early because I want a handlebar mustache.
I saw that in some of your previous podcasts.
Oh,
I was mentally preparing myself for that, for the
for the big mustache.
Yeah, but we came in with the full beard. I mean, as you can see, I'm clean shaven. I'm just in awe of folks like you that are just that man.
Oh, well, thank you. If I could convince my wife to let me keep it after Christmas, because I would just like to grow that thing, not like Duck Dynasty style, But I have a funny feeling if I do, she'll cut it off in the middle of the night.
Oh yeah,
it took me too long to learn how to sleep with one eye open, and I don't want that. So, all right, let's talk about your career in media. So take us back to the beginning. What actually first drew you to the world of children's and family storytelling?
Well, I'm not going to lie. When I first started, I thought I was going to be a music producer. I was like, I am totally going to be the person who is the next great tastemaker, making hits for myself and for other people.
Right.
Yeah. And, I was a senior in college, and I had a professor who sat our entire college class down and said, I think the bottom just fell out of the music industry. This Napster file sharing thing, it ain't going away. So I want everyone to go home and decide, do I want to stay in music and be poor for the rest of my life, or find something else? And I was one of the very few people. I was like, I don't need to do this. Like I'm young enough. I have time to pivot.
Right.
And so I graduated college with a music degree and nothing else. And I said, how do I get to another career, another place? And I thought to myself, well, what do I enjoy? Like, what do I enjoy consuming, doing? What could I do as a career that wouldn't feel like a job? And I was just watching cartoons and I said, gosh, that seems really cool. That seems really fun. And man, there's so many different aspects of cartoons. I'd be happy drawing. I'd be happy doing the voices. I'd be happy doing so many different aspects of it that I said, I'm going to launch myself into getting there one day. The problem I had, as I mentioned, I didn't have a background in it. And so I had to find a back door. And the back door that I found was at MTV. They were looking for a guy who had a music background that could underscore all the reality shows with music. And so I did that job, got a producer title on my resume, and then found my way into the kids' TV world that way. Just, oh, hey, I'm a producer and I worked at MTV. Maybe I could do something for your kids' show. And after several years of doing that, doing every job you could possibly think of in kids' TV.
Climbing the ladder.
Every single job you could think of. Yeah. I got my call up to the big leagues 10 years ago with Sesame.
Wow. Yeah, and the funny thing is, God, MTV, and even Napster, you're going back some time.
Yep.
But if you think about it, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was Metallica that filed the big lawsuit against Napster.
Yep.
But I think that really, in a way, it helped the music industry because you're seeing more independent artists come out now.
It was inevitable. I mean, that's the thing. Yeah. I think that's a big thing that people right now, we're dealing with the version of that for TV right now, where people are like, okay, everything is streaming.
Yep. Nobody's
making money anymore. All these millionaires and billionaires that have movies and TVs are what? There's no one wants content anymore. I think it happens in every industry. It just happened to happen back then in music. And now it's happening in TV. And as you're seeing with AI and everything, it's kind of coming for everybody.
Well, look how much cartoons have changed since we were younger.
Yep.
I mean, now everything's basically done on a computer.
Exactly. Everything.
Ain't nothing like the Flintstones anymore.
I mean, I'm an animation dork. I have a ton of animation cells, the hand paint in my office. And that was, to me, the peak of just a person painting a painstaking picture thousands of times to make The Grinch and other classics. Now you can do it all on a computer. It takes a fraction of the time and you kind of lose something there. Yeah,
it's just, I don't know. And what was it I was watching the other day? And now I'm really showing my age. But it took me back. It's like, oh my God. Was it the old Thunderbirds or whatever? Not the claymation, but it was like the puppeteers.
Yeah, the puppeteers.
If you watch carefully, you can see the lines, the strings and everything. I was I missed those days because everything wasn't perfect. Well, then again, computer generated is not perfect because, let's face it, nothing's perfect.
Yeah.
But it's just looking at those little flaws.
Oh, yeah.
Like even watching the old Godzilla movies.
Oh, yeah. No, the tangible quality of it's part of the magic. And honestly, like I remember as a kid watching some animated series, and it was you never were watching it saying like, I expect this to be 100% perfect. I remember as a kid watching the Smurfs or something, and there'd just be like a single frame where Papa Smurf turned like green or something. And as a kid, you're like, oh, like a team of people did this, and some quality control guy was asleep at the wheel, and they got a green frame of a Smurf in there. And that was the magic of you kind of going like, oh, this is like, there's magic happening here where a team of people all work together to get you to forget that this was just all a creation, that like you are not in, Smurfland or whatever.
Right.
You are in something that popped out of people's heads and translated into people's hands. And yeah, I miss that. I think that's why you watch some of these older movies. like Ghostbusters and everything, and they feel more real than current movies because everything was real. It was all practical.
Here's the other thing too. When it comes to feeling real, and you might be able to chime in on this, especially with your time at Sesame Workshop, because you worked with a lot of the characters, right?
I worked with all the characters. Yeah.
Okay, so here's something. My sister co-hosted an episode with me. We had Mallory Lewis and Lamb Chop on.
Yeah.
And at first we're speaking with Mallory Lewis. Then she brought out Lamb Chop. It's something that, I don't know what it is, but when you're talking to Lamb Chop's a sock puppet, but you're talking to Lamb Chop like she's real.
Yeah. Yeah.
With your time at Sesame Workshop, how hard was that? Because I'm sure you're dealing with characters all the time, but a lot of times were you actually talking to them like they were actually real characters?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I will say at Sesame Workshop and Sesame Street, it's a bit more revered than I think other places.
Okay.
Performers are paid to be the characters because you think about it, they're voicing the characters, but they're also performing all of the physical actions. And then, where things get kind of interesting is they're paid to think like the characters. So I'll just give you an example of how it could be interesting, but also a little challenging on a daily basis. So imagine, you, Rich, you're told, okay, so we got to record Cookie Monster tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. And the day before, you're feverishly working with the writers to get the script all set. What's going to be said, what's going to be recorded, how much time do we have, everything. And then you show up at 8 a.m., you sit down to record. Okay, we got an hour. There's a lot to fit in an hour, so we got to really get going. And the first word out of the performer's mouth is, the first line, Cookie Monster would never say that. And you go, shoot, okay, what would Cookie Monster say? Well, Cookie Monster would probably say this or this or this. So let's record those things. We'll still get what you want.
Right.
I'm paid to think like him, and he would never do this. And and that would happen every single time we recorded anybody. They would and they would say, hey, this little line, you got to tweak this, you got to change this. And it was at times challenging because sometimes there's entire scripts that were off, but you never stopped appreciating just how much these people could get inside the characters, own their motivations, own the way that they spoke, and then really be like an ambassador for each of their characters and how they all interacted. It was nothing short of impressive.
That's a true art.
Yeah.
To be able to do that. And you see there are a lot of actors that'll do that. They'll study. I think of Cuba Gooding Jr. You ever see the movie Radio?
Yeah.
And he studied that character and was flawless.
Yep.
Flawless. And there are some other actors that do that. I think of Johnny Depp, which cracks me up with Johnny Depp. He never wanted to, from what I understand, he never wanted to be an actor. He always wanted to be a musician.
Yeah. No, some people just have that gift. And
yes.
And, people always ask me, hey, I want to be an actor or a performer. What is the number one skill I need? I'm like, I always say the same thing, empathy. Like you need the ability to just get inside other people's brains, get inside other people's feelings and own them. And that's a crazy superpower that a lot of people just don't have.
Oh yeah. All right. So those people that are, if they see the social media video, they're going to ask the Emmy.
Yeah.
The Emmy in the background, explain to everybody what you actually won that for. You're the second person I've had on that's had an Emmy, and the other one got it for working at MTV.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah. So, all right, explain to everybody what the Emmy's for. What you won the Emmy for?
Yeah, sure. So, just in short, just kind of a little bit about who I am and what I did at Sesame. So when I was at Sesame, I was the senior director of current series. And that's a fancy way of saying that they, for the first time in 50 or so years, we're like, we want to do stuff that's not just the Sesame Street TV show. We want to do spin-offs. Right. We want to do new programming. We want to do puppet shows. We want to do animated series. We want to do live action series. We want to do stuff for preschool and stuff for teenagers. And we want you, Jordan, to be the person who is creating, developing, and producing all of it. The thing that
that's a lot of hats.
Yeah. And that's why my resume before I got there was so schizo. They're like, oh, this guy could actually do a lot. So it helped that I did all that stuff. The thing that a lot of people don't know about Sesame Workshop is it's a giant international organization that is like 250 people. It's the smallest company.
Wow.
Yeah, like there's like 2 or 3 people that run theme parks. There's like 2 or 3 people that run original programming. There's 2 or 3 people that run humanitarian. Like it's this Harvard-like club of people that are really good at their jobs who are wearing 50 million different hats. And so when I tell people, oh yeah, I was part of a team of 2 or 3 people that were doing all this, they're like, that doesn't make sense. And I'm like, that's the way it happened, you know? And what I will say is, creating, developing, and producing all this content, we had to do stuff for all different age groups. And
right.
The way that you create and develop a show is you ask, well, what are people not doing out there? Mm-hmm. For kids and for teens, what are some problems that they're all facing that no TV show is addressing? And the short answer to your question is, what did I win the Emmy for? I won it for Ghostwriter. Ghostwriter was an Apple TV series. It ran for 3 seasons. I'm super duper proud of it. It's actually the first Emmy that Apple TV ever won.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, its first year of existence, no streaming platform in history had ever won an Emmy for any show they ever did their first year. And
not even Netflix?
Nothing. Yeah. And
wow.
And so Apple TV won in its first year for Ghostwriter, and it won the best overall kids and family series award. It was like the top award. Like think of the end of the Oscars, you know, for Emmys, it was the top kids prize. And
so you made history.
Sort of. Yeah.
And
that show was for teens and tweens. And the curriculum was getting kids interested in reading again. So it was a TV show that brought a bunch of literary characters to life, but also had a message of like, if you want more, if you like this episode, go inside the book. We only told half the story. And it was a huge success. Apple was super happy with it. We got a lot of celebrities and stuff. Neil Patrick Harris was one of the characters. And, and I'm happy to say the year that it won was the day that it won was the best day of my life. And I'll tell you why. It was.
Wait a minute, Jordan.
Yeah.
I want you to think about this very carefully. You're married, right?
I'm married. I have 2 kids.
And you have children, right?
Yes. And what I will say is there's a lot of logistical issues on my wedding day. And we had 2 scary labors. Everything worked out well, but they were not perfect. This is a perfect day.
I didn't want you to get in trouble with anybody there.
Thank you so much. What I will say is there was only 1 year, speaking of history, there's only 1 year that they had to cancel the Emmys. And it was during COVID. Mm-hmm. Speak of the raspy voice. And they canceled it that year. They just did a broadcast on a laptop. And it was a running joke with my wife and with my mom that they both wanted to be my date to the Emmys whenever I got nominated. And it was a joke on Thanksgiving. They'd always spar at each other. I'm like, we'll deal with this one day. And then I got nominated and I was like, oh shoot, who do I actually take? And they thankfully canceled the ceremony. I went to my mom's house with my wife and with my kids and was like, you're all my dates. And then miraculously, it was like the dark horse in the category. Miraculously, I won, surrounded by my friends, family. We all hugged each other. We popped champagne. It was the greatest. So, yeah.
Wow.
Up the beat. So sorry for that long answer, but.
That's all right. I just wanted to make sure you didn't get in trouble, especially when you said that you had the greatest moment of your life. I'm like,
hey, yeah, there's been a lot of great moments, but thankfully all the important people in my life were there for it.
So with all the stuff you did at Sesame, and because I didn't realize I mean, 250 people, that's not a lot. But do you think that is why they are so successful? Because they've been together, they've been around for well over 50 years, right?
Yeah, over 50 years. I do. I actually think that it being a small core is part of the magic. So
yeah,
here's what I will say. I've worked at a lot of places in my career, and they're all different. Some places had thousands of people. Some places had 10 people.
Right.
And what I will say is the moment that I stepped into my first meeting at Sesame, I went, oh, I've since spoken at Harvard, but I never attended Harvard. I was like, this is what it feels like to go to Harvard. You walk in, you just start to hear people talk and you go, oh, I might be the dumbest person here. Oh my gosh. It was every meeting I was in for the past 10 years. It was a collection of the smartest people that I had ever been around, the smartest people in marketing, the smartest people, in talent relations, everything. And you have to bring your A game when it's a small core, when you are talking to the one person who's in charge of this or the one person who's in charge of this, you aren't half asleep in your meeting. You are firing on all cylinders because you're in some rare company.
That's what makes somebody very great, when you surround yourself with people that are smarter than you. And I'm sure that, there is things that you were better at that the other people couldn't do.
Yeah.
I mean, I always think of Henry Ford. That's how he was so successful. He would just surround himself with better people.
Well, it's funny you say that because, you work at a place, you go to a Harvard, you work at a place like Sesame, you kind of start saying to yourself, well, God, what am I the best at? What can I bring to this? And it's hard to find your place. I'm happy to say that mine was pretty obvious. People would tell me it every day. And it's funny when you're around a bunch of weird savant people, they end up just saying, hey, this is your superpower, stick to this, amp this up. And my thing, as crazy as it may sound, I was really good with people. Like I just loved talking to people. I loved connecting people. When people were fighting each other, I was like the one who made it all work. If there was a TV production and there was a horrible head writer that didn't want to work with anybody, they would just say, Jordan, go in there, make this person do their job. And I think with a lot of really smart people, you do run into a lot of people who have high opinions of themselves. They may not be people, I guess. And so that was a rare superpower in Sesame, was just the guy who could walk around and make things happen and take somebody out to a drink and suddenly the show's working correctly, that sort of thing.
It's one of the greatest powers anybody can have.
Oh, thanks.
I seriously, I think so. I mean, I was the same way. Other companies I worked for, they're like, all right, get a hold of Rich, let him put out the fire, let him talk to him.
They called me the fireman at Sesame. Yeah. They're like, if there's a giant fire, just throw Jordan on it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, okay, I'll do it. I love a challenge.
Hey, but that's when you're successful though, Rich. I have to tell you, you have a wonderful podcast, a wonderful forum.
Well, thank you.
You're just a really nice person. And I think it's that interest that you have, the fact that you like helping people, you like learning about people. That's the secret sauce, I think.
Well, thank you. And I'll make sure I send you that check for saying that. So, well, that's the reason I started this 10 years ago. I just wanted I want to learn from people and raise awareness for some other things. And I do. I mean, I've already learned stuff from 250 people for a company that it's mind boggling. All right. So looking back, what's the one project that you feel most proud of and why?
Oh my God.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be with Sesame, anything.
Okay. I have two. Okay. I have one Sesame, one non-Sesame.
Okay.
All right, so the Sesame one I will start off with is the show called Sesame Street Mecha Builders. And that, just for those people who don't have kids, a lot of people that have kids are like, I know that show. It is a CG animated show that's on HBO Max. It's by all accounts a big hit. And it was a spin-off of Sesame, and it stars Cookie Monster, Elmo, and Abby Cadabby. and they're mechanized robot characters that help people out with their problems. That's the long and short of it.
Sort of like Sesame meets Transformers.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I grew up with Transformers. I have an animation cell at Transformers. So like, it was just something I worked on that I was like, this is my dream project. But the big reason I'm so proud of it is that when I started at Sesame, I was told, hey, we got a little bit of an issue. We could use your help on it. The issue is the age demographic of Sesame Street. It's starting to shrink a little bit. It's starting to go down. And I was like, how so? And they said, well, it used to be for 2 to 5. Then it went to 2 to 4 and then 2 to 3, right. And it's continuing to shrink. It just seems like the audience is getting younger and younger and kids are aging out of it. And I said, well, do you want us to do anything to Sesame Street? And they said, oh yeah, we're planning a whole reimagining. And they're in the process of doing that for Netflix right now. But they said, we want you to do a spinoff and we want you to get our age group like higher again. And so I worked on this Mecha Builders show and we told the writers like right off the bat, we're like, hey, make this for like the older brother and older sister of the kids that watch Sesame Street. And we're going to respect preschoolers' intelligence, that they're going to be along for the ride and they're not going to get lost. We made it for a STEM curriculum, which is like science, science, technology, engineering, and math. And what I'm proud to say is we aired it and it became the #1 kids show on HBO Max for ages 6 to 11. And it was like, whoa, oh my God, like 6 to 11 kids, this is the #1 show. And we were told yes. And so I was super proud about that one. On a personal level, I worked on this one show. This is not a show that's like super famous or anything, but I'm very proud of it. I worked on this one show for Cartoon Network, previous job, that was called Thumb Wrestling Federation. And the concept was, it was literally just 2 live action hands that were thumb wrestling with each other, and they had masks and different characters. I did a bunch of stuff for the show, but I voiced 2 of the characters. And one of the characters was a slime monster named Gil. He had kind of a voice that sounded like this. And the other character was like a New Jersey tough guy named Ouch, who sounded sort of like this. And I did the voices for the show. I forgot about it. It aired on Cartoon Network. No one really watched it. Fine. A couple of years after that, I'm working at a different company and I go to a toy show in London and I'm walking around just checking out all the different booths they have. And all of a sudden I see this giant booth with my characters on there. And I walk up to it. I just go, what is this? They're like, oh, it's Thumb Wrestling Federation. It's huge. It's huge out here. I'm like, this show's big. And they're like, oh yeah, all throughout Europe. It's an awesome thing. And I'm like, did my voice here? And so I listened and they were using my voice and they're like, yeah, we got posters. We got shirts. We have action figures of your characters. And I'm like, what the hell is this? It was the real life I'm big in Japan moment. And and I was signing autographs for people. I was just like, this is the weirdest thing.
You had no idea.
Currently, my characters are really big. I just never knew about it. This is before the heyday of the internet where things like that could still happen. So,
the funny thing is, if that thing was rebooted today, it would be the way wrestling is today. Oh, yeah. It would just blow up.
It would blow up. It was also like shorter episodes. And that's the thing. People keep asking me, where is kids content going? And I just keep on saying, like, it's just getting shorter and shorter. For some reference, that Mecha Builders show that I was telling you about, those episodes are 22 minutes long. And then Sesame Street was like, hey, we want to do like some shorts of it. Can you make them 5 minutes? And I was like, sure. The 5-minute episodes were even more popular. And then Japan was like, hey, this is really big out here. Can you make 2-minute episodes? We made 2-minute episodes.
Wow.
And that was even more popular. And then one of the last things that I did at Sesame before I left was make a series of shorts of Mecha Builders for Instagram. Each one had to be 59 seconds or less. The whole episode, from beginning to end. And we put the first one up, and I was like, this is crazy. Every time we shorten these, they get more and more popular. What I will tell you, Rich, these were produced in Canada. The entire population of Canada is 41 million people. The first video we put up as of 5 minutes ago is at 310 million views. It's the most popular thing that Sesame Street has ever posted on
Instagram.
And it's just on Instagram and on YouTube.
Wow.
And so it just goes to show, like, everything's just getting shorter and more compact, more disposable. And heck, if you want to make a hit series, just shorten it a bit, and I think you're there.
Well, and you're seeing that a lot with, even podcasts.
Yep.
People will take, like the video clips and make short ones out of it. That's why YouTube Shorts, YouTube Shorts is so successful. The hardest part, especially when it comes to podcasts, is getting the people to go to the podcast and listen to the full episode.
Yes.
That's the hard part.
It is.
But that's smart with what you're doing the little short. That's all it is. It reminds me of, again, I'm showing my age, the Three Stooges.
Yeah, totally.
They were so successful because of their shorts, I believe. That, and they were funny as hell.
Exactly. And content's always gotten shorter and shorter. Like, that's the thing. I think people are having a tough time wrapping their minds around this. That's the number one thing parents say is, I'm really annoyed at my kids. All they do is watch YouTube Shorts. All they do is watch Instagram. I can't get them to sit and watch a movie that's like 2 or 3 hours anymore. I'm the guy in the room who's like, I don't know if I want to watch a movie that's 3 hours. Like, there's something about stuff getting a little bit shorter, a little more compact. It just frees you up. I don't know.
With this stuff you do with children, and I just thought about this. Everybody, a lot of businesses, I wouldn't say practically everybody, not an individual person, but all types of businesses and all, they have focus groups.
Yeah.
So with you, when you getting ready to put pen to paper or whatever, you're creating something for children, do you have a focus group of children?
Yep. Children and parents. Because
really?
Yes, because it's millions and millions of dollars that are invested in any of these things. No one has the thick skin to be like, yeah, let's just throw it out there and just gamble. So what we'll do is we'll produce a couple of episodes, or if we can't make a couple episodes, if it's too expensive, just a couple of shorts. And we'll get a focus group of kids and do formative and summative testing. It's basically a fancy way of saying, like, our kids enjoying stuff and our kids learning something from this.
Right.
And what's crazy is you, as a person who's creating a kids show, you have to make something that appeals to both the kids and the parents. I think a lot of people, one of the big misconceptions is, oh, hey, I made a show. Kids are going to love it. Parents have to feel safe with their popular kid in front of it, that especially if it's a Sesame thing, they have to look at it and know my kid's going to come out of watching this a better person, smarter, stronger, and kinder. The other thing is parents have to basically, like, kids will watch almost anything. There's a heavy, heavy funnel that's like a parent filter, where they go, okay, my kids have to improve in some way. But also, in addition to this, do I feel comfortable as a parent telling other parents that my kids watch this show? That's a weird thing to put your mind through. But the elevator pitch of any show that we did at Sesame, or any kids show, it almost has to be parent approved, where you're never going to make a show that's like, hey, I made a show. It's John Wick, but like they're groundhogs. Every parent will be like, well, yeah, I'm not going to tell other parents that I'm watching some groundhog with guns that it's killing people and everything. You have to do that parent filter where it's like, does this sound good to parents? And then we entertain the kids with it. And so it's literally just two forms of testing. We ask the parents a series of questions, and we ask the kids a series of questions. And then at the end, we have these big meetings where it's like, hey, and we get really nuanced with it. Hey, this show's really great. Parents hate this character. We have to get rid of this character. Kids loved this episode and hated this episode. We have to get rid of this episode. And you just are kind of moving and shifting until you get your sweet spot.
All right. So, you always hear the phrase, never bring your work home.
Yeah. I'm the opposite.
But I was just going to ask you that because especially with you having kids, how many times have you brought work home and you're like all excited about this episode or this character you created or whatever? And then two girls?
Two girls. Yeah. Two girls. Yeah. And 4 years apart, 11, 7, which is great. It's 2 different age demographics. I get to test,
Well, how many times have they looked at something you brought home and they're like, oh no,
all the time.
No, that ain't good. But you're excited about it because you thought it was going to be like off the charts
all the time. And that's actually the best feedback. So here's what I will say is there's no more of a blunt audience than kids. And you go up another level, there's no more blunt of an audience than your own kids because they really do love you and they really do care about you. And they just can't smile and say, yeah, this is really great, Dad. The sheer amount of times I've shown something to my girls and they've just gone, Dad, no, this is the worst. This is boring. I find this character really annoying. This person who voices this, like, never cast them again in something.
Wow.
And what's so cool about that is, sometimes, you can't just take all their feedback, but a lot of their feedback, I can't tell you how many times, and I don't have an ego. I can't tell you how many times I have been like, we got an episode, we had to review it. I went home, showed it to my kids, and they were like, Dad, this sucks. This part sucks. This character sucks. And then I just went in the next morning and was like, yeah, I don't think this character is going to test well. Like you kind of have this like, we may want to rethink these things. And I'm channeling my kids who are very, very united in hating something. Now, what I will say, though, is there's a secret, there's a magic spot to bring in your work home. I will say, my kids love watching shows. They love helping me. They love feeling like they're part of the process. I will say, like any job, you have good and bad days. And it took me a while to realize, you leave some of the stress at your job. You don't bring that home, because especially working in a creative field, you could watch a movie with your kids and you're just like scowling the whole time. And you're just like, this reminds me of this thing with my job. Like this character reminds me of a character that I had to work on. When you work in entertainment and you're watching entertainment, it's hard not to give notes. It's hard to be surly. It's hard not to say, hey, that person who voices that character, that person's a jerk in real life. You kind of have to let your kids just sit and be whisked away.
Have either of your girls shown any interest in following your footsteps?
That's a great question. My younger daughter wants to be a singer. There's some creative stuff in there. Our older daughter is just a rebel. And how do you rebel against a parent who works at Sesame Street? She's like, I want to be a dentist. I'm like, sure. Yeah, go.
Wow.
Yeah. She's helped me out with so many shows over the years and she's really good. She's a great director, producer. I'm like, sure, pursue the dental dream. But slowly but surely, I'm like, maybe you could help me out with this YouTube video. Maybe I'm like the devil on her shoulder that's just trying to whisk her away from a stable, safe, sane career. And it's like, let's work in kids TV. So
are you happy that you switched from the music on over?
Oh my God, yes. Oh my God, yes. Yeah, I've just had to work with a lot of people that work in music, either as a sound engineer or a composer. It's tough. It's a really tough profession. There's not a lot of money in it, honestly.
Right.
I really have a lot of respect for people that do find livings in that career. And here's what I will say too, to anybody listening that is young or even old, and they're trying to figure out what they want to do next.
You're listening to Conversations with Rich Bennett. We'll be right back. I want to give a huge shout out to a key player behind the scenes of the show, Freedom Federal Credit Union. You know, running a podcast involves more than just microphones and stories. It requires solid financial management. And that's where Freedom Federal Credit Union comes in. They're not just a credit union. They're a community partner that I trust deeply. Their support helps us keep bringing you the stories you love episode after episode. And what really sets Freedom Federal Credit Union apart is their dedication to local businesses. They offer everything from business loans to incredible resources, ensuring companies like mine thrive. And it's all wrapped in top-notch customer service. So if you're a business owner looking for a financial institution that supports your goals and invests in our community, I can't recommend Freedom Federal Credit Union enough. Swing by their site at freedomfcu.org or give them a call at 1-800-440-4120.
Do a unpaid internship in that field. You may think you love it. When I was younger, I'm not gonna pretend that this professor told me, hey, you know, there's no music in the music industry. There's no money in the music industry. You should leave it. And I immediately just took that advice. I was like, let me check. And so I did a internship at a company that did music and sound effects for movies. And
right.
it was a sound engineering firm in New York City, and all the top movies, Martin Scorsese, everyone used this place. And so I worked as an intern there, and they were like, hey, you know, as part of this internship, we want you to score and do sound effects for one of the movies. And we'll just see how good you are. You can see what the process is like. And as I mentioned, I'm a people person. I love talking. I love collaborating. I love joking. They told me this. They closed the door. And for the next week, I was in a padded soundproof room alone.
Oh, wow.
And it was like solitary confinement. I was trying to get a door squeak, and I was just listening to door squeaks, like 700 different types of door squeaks. And by the end of that week, I was like, I hate this. I need to talk to somebody. I need to get out of here. This is hell. This is literally hell. And so that's just to say, am I happy I'm not doing that? Am I happy? Absolutely. I've been able to do some music things and sound effects, and voice acting, as I mentioned. So I'm still in audio, but I'm happy. I'm successful. My kids are happy. I never look back.
Internships are important. And I learned that when I was going to school for radio, and my first internship I did was I was lucky because it was at one of my favorite radio stations.
Nice.
And I learned so much there. But keep in mind, when I was in radio, I was strictly a music DJ.
Yeah.
One of the things I did not like to do, believe it or not, was to interview people.
Oh,
I did not want to do that. And here's the funny thing. I was DJing in clubs before I started DJing in radio.
interesting.
The first time I went live on the air at a radio station, that on-air light came on and I froze.
Oh, no.
It freaked me out. And the guy that got me into radio, he said, Rich, he said, what's the matter? I said, there's like thousands of people listening. He said, well, hopefully more than that, but which made it even worse. I said, yeah, that's scary. He said, you're in the clubs all the time. You're DJing in front of hundreds of people. I don't get it. Well, you'll be fine. You know what my answer was?
What?
That's in the club, Steve. That's where I'm DJing. There's alcohol.
Yeah, exactly.
And he said, oh my God. He said, all right, good point. But he said, just look at this. And Steve Malfa he taught me a lot when it came to radio. He said, just look at the microphone and think of it as one person.
Yeah.
I was like, I could do it. And everything else. But the only thing I didn't like about radio was everything was scripted.
Yeah. Well, I learned that about reality TV.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And some stations, I couldn't even use my own name.
Oh,
nowadays, and now, again, I'm showing my age, but when I was in, we were still using vinyl and even reel-to-reel tapes and cards.
Yeah.
Now everything is on the computer. and you can hit go.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I mean, to your point about the internships, I think something else that I did with any internship I had, but also really any job that I had, was I would get there, I'd look at what the tasks were and what the building was like and what the company was like. But I always paid, and maybe I'm an empathetic person, I would always pay really close attention to how happy the people were.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And I can't tell you how many places that like I started, I was super excited. I was, oh my God, this is going to be great. And then you look around and people are like, run, get out of here. Yeah. And sure enough, I mean, those that never lies. It's never, oh, you just talked to Tom, he's always disgruntled. It's like, no, people give off a vibe, and that vibe is how you will feel about this company eventually.
The thing is, and not just with businesses, but that's very important. If you're going to go to work somewhere, talk to the people that work there. Yeah. But also, if you're going to move to a neighborhood, I always suggest go and talk to the neighbors.
Yeah.
Because before you sign that contract, because the last thing you want to do is move into a neighborhood that is just filled with hateful people.
And honestly, you get some great stories out of that. I started working at this one animation company, and this animation company was doing all the preschool stuff. And they were like the envy of every company in New York City at the time. And I started working there. I was super pumped. And I wound up talking to this guy who was like the second or third in command. How do you like working here? He's like, oh, I hate it. I hate every day of my life. And I was like, okay.
Wow.
Well, I mean, I talked to this person and this person and this person, and they all seem kind of happy. Like, what's going on? And he said, yeah, it makes sense. The reason being the guy who runs this company is a psychopath, just the most horrible human being that you will ever work with. And if you look at an org chart of this company, it's like, don't be too close, don't be Icarus, don't go too close to the sun. Right. You will see how happy anyone is at this company is by how closely they have to work with this guy, this horribly evil guy that runs this company. And sure enough, it just changed my whole worldview. I looked around and was like, oh, I need to work here and not get promoted too much.
Yeah.
And unfortunately I did. I just kept getting promoted. And I was like, oh no, I have to work with this guy all the time. And it wound up, I wound up seeing what a lot of people were saying about this guy.
All right. Before we get into what you're doing now, I have to ask you this. Usually I'll ask for one, but that's not fair. So I'll say three.
Okay.
Who are three of your favorite characters for Sesame?
For Sesame. Okay. They were going to say.
All right. Overall. Yeah. Cause that could be kind of hard, wouldn't it?
Yeah. No, I mean, I could do both. Honestly,
okay. Good. All right. That's fine.
Happy to give you whatever you want. So, I will say favorite Sesame characters. I like the Count is number 3. I'm a Halloween dork, and so I just love anything Halloween. Second would be Cookie Monster. There's something just so pure and ridiculous about him. Number 1 for me is Ernie of Bert and Ernie. Ernie.
Hey, Bert. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. And I do a lot of the voices for the Scratch. Like a lot of the voices that are not used, that are voices, I used to do all the characters. So, his voice is sort of like this. Hey, Bert, how's it going? And Ernie's down here. Well, Ernie, for those who don't know, Ernie was like the spirit of Jim Henson. He was voiced by Jim Henson. He had Jim Henson's like happy, exuberant energy. And as a kid, I was obsessed with that energy. I was like, this character is just so warm and friendly and fun and optimistic. I just want to be this character. And I grew up, I kind of am that character. And it wasn't until I got to Sesame Street that people were like, this was Jim Henson putting himself on camera. And so if you never met him, if you ever got a chance to meet him, if you watch an episode of Sesame Street and just see how Ernie acts, that is like a proxy for him. So those are my top 3 for that. Top 3 characters overall. I'll give you the number 1. The number 1 character I love is the Grinch, specifically because you have How the Grinch Stole Christmas. You have an episode it is. I don't know if you've realized how short it is. It's like 11 minutes long. They padded it with cartoons when we were younger, but it is really short. You have a Christmas special about a jerk who is just doing horrible things to people for 98% of the runtime. And not only is it fun, but you're like, yeah, steal that thing, oh yeah, abuse that dog. Like you're just with him on the ride. And what I try to tell people is he is, in my opinion, one of the first in popular culture, one of the first anti-heroes. If you look at Tony Soprano or, insert anti-hero here, you can trace it back to the Grinch and just how fascinating it was to a generation of kids that were like, wait, this episode revolves around the villain? I'm hanging out with the villain this whole time, watching them do villainous things on Christmas. It feels so sacrilegious and so dark that I've kind of spent my whole career just unpacking that. And the great work that Chuck Jones, the guy who made Looney Tunes, did with all the animation, pacing, Boris Karloff doing the voice. It's a masterwork.
I bring him up, not Boris Karloff, but Grinch up a lot when I'm playing Santa Claus.
Nice.
Because I always tell the kids, they're like, don't be a Grinch, don't be a Grinch. I hear them say that to other people. I was like, wait a minute, what's wrong with the Grinch?
Yeah.
Keep in mind, Grinch is basically the cartoon character of Scrooge.
Yeah.
And at the end, what happens with the Grinch? His heart just grows so big.
Exactly.
I said, there's nothing wrong with being the Grinch. I got to agree with you about Ernie too.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. And here's why. Because I think because of Ernie, a lot of adults fell in love with Sesame Street. And now I'm going back probably before you were even born, but there is a hit song that Ernie sang, and I'll never forget this. My older brother had to have the rubber ducky.
Rubber ducky, of course.
Yes. But I mean, you heard adults singing the thing all the time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All the time.
I mean, I'm a child of the early 80s. Like I was born in 82. And back then, I mean, Elmo is a new thing as far as I'm
Yes.
and Abby Cadabby. Like there's a whole bunch of new characters. Bert and Ernie were like the OG weirdo odd couple, for my generation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You said it perfectly for people my age, the odd couple.
Yeah.
Which another series. All right. So what is it that Jordan is doing now?
Great question. So,
besides sitting there talking to me, I know that.
I mean, that's number one. That's number one. And recovering from COVID. I'm very excited. So a lot of people are like, well, you were at Sesame for 10 years. Like, why aren't you staying there Sesame famously is a place where if you are good at what you do, you stay there for decades. Mm-hmm. And the way that I've been responding to people is, on this planet, we get like 8 decades, 9 decades if we're lucky.
If you're lucky.
Yeah. I've devoted one of those 8 or 9 decades to making kids smarter, stronger, and kinder, doing all different types of shows. And really, I'm just super proud of the work that I did. I was ready for a change. I was ready for 2 things. And this is kind of where I'm going now. The first one is I was ready to do some creative where my name was on the top. You work with a lot of creative people, showrunners and show creators. And as creative as I am, I was always the, number 2 or deferring to somebody. I was like, I think I'm ready to be the creative voice. And so I can't talk about it right now, but there's something super duper duper exciting that has gotten greenlit. I'm signing the paperwork literally as we speak, so I can't talk about it, but I am the creative voice. I created a series, and in the coming weeks and months, I'll be able to announce it. So that dream has come true, which is great. The other half of what I really wanted to do more of is helping people, is talking a little bit about how you can use some of the methods that I used to create some of the new kid shows and how you can use those same methods to better your own life. And to give you an example of that, I worked at Sesame Street for 10 years. And before that, a bunch of kids shows. And we're doing fun things. This is like ridiculous that we're getting paid to do this. I can't tell you.
To be a kid again.
Yeah, to be a kid again. I can't tell you how many meetings I would be in, and people are upset. People are stressed out. People are angry. People are yelling at each other. And I just realized just how many unhappy people, even at Sesame Street, even at other places there are. And I would always take those people aside and just be like, hey, what's going on in your life? Like, can I help? Can we turn this around a little bit? And, you're busy. I didn't really have a lot of time to do that when I was at Sesame Street. Now, a lot of people, friends, family, but also just people all around the globe have been contacting me via my website, which is jordangeary.com. And they've been saying, hey, I'm ready to change my life and make it more fun and make myself the main character of the story I always wanted to be. And so I have a bunch of videos on YouTube. I have some blogs that I've been writing. And really, it's using a person's background that in creating characters, worlds, episodes for TV, and just saying, hey, how could you run your life through that filter and then come out the other side going, oh my God, I turned into my favorite character. I turned into James Bond. I turned into, John Wick or Vince Vaughn from Swingers. Like the person I always wanted to be, I am now. And it's because I deconstructed my life and rebuilt it back up almost as if somebody was creating a TV show. And so
branding yourself.
Exactly. Branding yourself, but doing it in a really fun way. We all like watching TV. We all love watching movies. I'm like, why don't you just watch a bunch of your favorite TV shows and jot down all the traits that all your favorite characters have? Do you have all of those? What's holding you back? Like,
I love
deconstructing some of that stuff.
And I think that's very important, especially, for somebody like me in this field, in podcasting. Very important for people to do that. I think it's very important for entrepreneurs, CEOs, business owners. You need to get your face out there.
Yeah.
And, call the expert, Jordan. He can, he can make Cookie Monster look good. So,
yeah. Well, here's what I will tell you is, just from my background, I have to make something look fun and cool and sweet for kids and for parents. And that is so insanely hard. And so I can guarantee
but you get a lot of joy out of it.
Get a lot of joy out of it. But I can guarantee whoever's listening to this, if they're like, oh yeah, but I got so many problems and I'm such a despicable person, everything, like, I'm like, no, I can totally turn you into somebody that everyone kind of goes, wow, like kids and parents. That guy's kind of cool. That guy, that woman has something kind of going on. And what I will tell you is the biggest thing that I've learned, like throughout this entire life and process, is that we have more agency than I think we give ourselves credit for. I will tell you, a couple of years ago, I was pretty unhappy with myself. I was pretty unhappy with the way I dressed, the way I talked, the friends I had, the family members I was giving some time and attention to. And I literally had to just stop everything, unpack, and rebuild my life. And now my life is better than it's ever been. I think it's something that everyone needs to do from time to time.
What did you do to help you with that? Was it something you read or something?
No.
Really?
No. So I'll just tell you, the most unhappy I think I've ever been in my life was in high school. I was a cool, awesome, friendly, personable guy leading up to high school. And then I went to high school in another town. And when I got there, everyone knew each other. And if you were somebody that didn't grow up with them, you were like an other.
Outside.
Yeah. It was also a harsh, strict Catholic high school that was very fun. And I mean, it was like just a perfect smorgasbord of awfulness. And I was so unhappy in high school that I just said, I did the George Costanza from Seinfeld. I was like, the opposite of everything I'm doing must be right because everything is going wrong. And I said, who do I want to be? Like, that was my first question. Who do I want to be that I'm not right now? And I just started watching TV and movies, and I just started jotting down like, this guy's the character that I want to pay attention to the whole time. They're the second or third most, on the billing, but the second or third most interesting character or important character, but I love them. Right. And after making this list, I literally, at the time went to my mom and I was like, I want to get my hair cut this way. I want to dress this way. I want to speak this way. Can you help me? And my mom said, sure. You're not seem very happy. Let me help you out. And it was like one of those old 90s movies. I did everything different, went to school the next day. Girls were paying attention to me. Jocks wanted to hang out with me. I was getting parts in plays. It was like everything changed. Cut to a couple of years ago, I had another one of those moments where I was like, I'm just not happy. And then I just went back into my catacombs of my memory and said, you were once this unhappy. What did you do then? You did this thought experiment where you just tracked people and characters in movies and TV that you liked, and you just kind of embodied them. And I did it again, and it worked again. And I was happier than ever. And so that is part of the reason why I built this website. I built this YouTube channel. Is I'm like, I've done this a couple of times for myself. I've helped my kids through tough times with this. I helped my wife, friends, family, strangers. I'm like, there's something in this where it's fun to watch TV and movies, but it's even more fun to like become the characters that you love. And yeah, and in a weird way, bring out aspects of yourself that you're not pretending to be somebody else. You're like elevating attributes that you have within your own personality, right, and your own persona, and bringing those to the forefront, and kind of changing the way that other people see you, but also how you see yourself.
It's a unique way of giving yourself a makeover, it sounds like.
Yeah, well, and so the first reality show I worked on was a show called Ambush Makeover. Maybe that's somewhere in the back of my mind. It was a show.
I never heard that one.
It was a show for Fox where they went up to people on the streets in New York and said, "Hey, you look like crap. You could use a makeover."
God.
Yeah, and they would make over somebody. And my first job at a school was I was the unpaid intern that had to chase people down who were too offended to appear on the show and say, "Hey, can you sign this waiver so I can get you storming off?" That was the worst job of my life.
Yeah, I could see. Yeah. All right, I got to ask you this then, Jordan. Yeah. Which characters are in you?
Oh my God. I love you. That is like the best. All right. So I'll just jump right into it. There have been many characters over the years that I've just seen attributes in, specifically confidence. They're personable, that age old, women want to be with them, men want to be them sort of thing. Right. James Bond. I did mention Vince Vaughn from the movie Swingers. Just people that are super extroverted and big and they're the life of the party. But there was one character that I saw and I just was like, I think this is it. I think this character is who I am when I'm at my best. If I've had a couple of drinks and I'm like entertaining a whole party full of people, it is this character. The way I look, the way I dress, the decisions I make. And I was like, I'm not going to take my own word for it. I sat my wife down and I was like, watch this TV show. And we watched this TV show and my wife turns to me and said, this character acts so much like you when you are entertaining people. And I was like, okay. And I showed it to a couple of friends and they're like, yeah, I like that show. But like the main character just reminded me a lot of you, as weird as it may sound. And it just spoke to me so much. The funny thing is, it was the character of the devil from the TV show that was on Fox and Netflix, Lucifer. If you ever watch that.
Yes.
That character is.
I could see that.
Yeah. For better or for worse, I guess I'm the devil, it's a weird thing to have on your business card, I guess.
I love that character, man.
He's fun. He's unpredictable. And the most important thing is he's interesting. And everyone who ever talks to me has a good time. And that's my big thing is appearing on your podcast. I'm like, I may suck, but I want Rich to have fun. And feels like things have been going well.
Can you play piano like that?
Aha! I'm working on it. Nope. But Good question, though. I think I have my next thing on my to-do list.
To learn how to play piano.
Yep.
I was going to say, if it's something that you want to do, you got to at least try it.
Got to at least try it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm very good at playing the guitar. Piano, though,
Really?
I've always had problems, but you inspired me. That is the number one thing I'm going to do after this.
Jordan, if you could play guitar, you'll be able to play piano. Seriously, I believe that wholeheartedly. I used to play music. I started off as drums, then keyboard, then guitar, then bass.
Yeah.
My son, and I always say he is Stevie Ray Vaughan reincarnated.
Whoa.
Guitar, and then he plays piano. He could play bass and drums. Put him in front of anything, and he could pick it right up.
That's amazing. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah. Sure.
Is there a character from movies or TV that you love? Like somebody that pops into your head that you're like, and when I say love, I mean specifically there's attributes of them, and it doesn't have to be all of them. It could be a serial killer for all I know. But somebody that you look at and you're like, you know what? I always loved this about this character, and I have a little bit of that in myself.
Not necessarily a character, but an actor.
Ooh, even better.
Yeah.
Great.
Because even growing up, I nicknamed myself after him.
Oh, I'm so excited.
And that was John Wayne.
That's awesome.
I just always loved John Wayne. And the matter of fact, I forget what movie it was, but the one movie, it may have been Sands of Iwo Jima, where he died. And I started tearing, man. It's like, it's John Wayne. He's not supposed to die.
Yeah.
But the thing, I mean, there are a lot of great characters out there.
Yeah.
You know what? That's homework for me that I'm going to have to do.
You gave me so much, and our audience so much, even in saying John Wayne, I could see it in the best of ways. And seriously.
Well, thank you, Larry Pilgrim. I can't even do his voice anymore.
Well, let me tell you why, though. I mean, and the why.
Because I'm older. That's why.
The why is the biggest question. Or the biggest answer. I will say, you and I popped on this podcast like for 5-10 minutes before we started recording. You project quiet badass. Like,
oh, thank you.
You're very nice. You're very sweet. You're very gracious. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, this guy is who I want, like in a bar fight with me. This guy.
No, man.
He's Santa Claus, but don't touch his presents. Yeah.
Here's the funny thing, because I was the one. Now, granted, I did have a short temper, very short temper, but I was also the one that would try to break things up and tell people to just look. My thing was I would always say, "Why are you fighting? There's no reason to fight.
Yeah. Sit
down and have a drink together or whatever. Yeah. What's fighting going to solve? Well, he ain't going to do it again if I beat his ass." Mm-hmm. You don't know that. Yeah. You don't know that. But at the same time, if you did anybody in my family, a friend wrong, and if you ever hurt a woman or a child, I'm coming after you.
Well, let me tell you.
And that's the way I was brought up.
Let me tell you something. That attribute that you have within yourself is what made you such a good mediator. Because if you were like a weak little sniveling guy and you guys should really calm down, no one's listening to that person. No. You have to have that ability to step up and puff your shoulders out a little bit and just say, I want you to calm down. I want you to calm down. And just in your voice is that little bit of edge where it's like, and don't mess with me when I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you to do that. And I think that's really, it's the best of both worlds. This is a weird tangent. I have a fish tank. I have a fish tank in my house and it's full of all these tropical fish. And when I first got this fish tank, the fish store was like, you should get a fox face rabbit fish. And I was like, I don't know what the heck that is. They're like, oh, it's a really pretty yellow fish. But they're like, this fish is kind of a badass. And I was like, how so? And it said, when you're curating a fish tank, you have to have a bunch of different personalities that all work together.
Right.
This fish, fox face rabbit fish, is a badass that calms everyone down and stops fights. And I was like, it does? And they're like, yeah. if you get two fish, you put two fish in there that naturally hate each other to start to fight, you will literally see this fish get in between them and be like, you go to that side of the tank, you go to that side of the tank. I don't want to hear from you guys again.
Wow.
And I was like, get out of here. And sure enough, I got a bunch of fish, put them in there. And this fish was just sorting people out and telling people like, hey, chill out, calm down. And so I think the world needs more people like that. Just John Wayne, quiet badass.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah.
Man. All right. So Jordan, before I get to my last question, which I have no idea what the hell it's going to be. I don't. Is there anything you would like to add?
Oh, that I would like to add. Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
That's not my question though.
Yeah. I'll add something that I have learned really the past month. Part of the reason I have COVID is I just got back from Europe. I was, I was in Belgium, Prague, Vienna, Krakow.
Wow.
I went to 8 different cities in 8 different countries.
What, were you over there thumb wrestling?
Yeah, right. I know. Just do fan service here and there. You know how it is. And what I will say is just that much time away from your life, you just start to reflect. You start to look back and just say, okay, well, when I land, what are some things I want to do differently? How can I just tweak things a little bit to make things better? One of my big revelations when I was on my travels was, man, it is really easy in this life to take things too seriously.
Yeah.
I'm a guy who worked at Sesame Street for 10 years. I should have had the happiest, most fun job in the world. I took I cared about it. So I took every aspect of that job super seriously and just worked my butt off and probably didn't have as much fun as I wish I did. And you look back on your life, I think that's a big regret a lot of people have when they are on their deathbed is, man, I could have had a bit more fun. If I knew it was all going to end this way, I probably should have just laughed more, been a bit more open. And so I think just something I want to add to the listener, if you haven't been doing this enough lately, just schedule in time to laugh, schedule in time to be present. And man, unless you're a surgeon who is saving people's lives every day, chances are what you're doing is not as serious as you think it is. And you'll live longer if you just laugh more. So that's something I just want to share, I guess.
But the good thing is with that, you said it was something that you regret, but you learned from that regret. Exactly. Which is very important because a lot of people
and benefit. I'm not going to lie. It's like working hard. Don't do that. It's like, no, like there's a time and a place for everything. And I think, okay, hey, I won the biggest Emmy I could win. Maybe now I can laugh and have a bit more fun with my family,
Yeah. Maybe now you can critique the stuff that your daughters do.
Oh my gosh. You can put that in writing so that when they become teenagers, I'm like, Rich told me I got to do this. I'm really sorry, but your boyfriend kind of sucks. Sorry.
Hey, you know what? Here's the thing. I tell parents this anytime, especially if they have a little girl and they put her in Santa's lap and that little girl's crying, I always tell them, take the picture now. That's the best photo you'll ever have because when it's time for her to go date somebody, you can just hold that picture up. Look, this is the way she is with guys. She's going to be crying the whole time.
Exactly. Exactly.
Just saying. And have the rule to where if a boy wants to date your daughter, they must come to the door and ask your permission first.
Absolutely.
And if he's still standing there, after you punch him in the mouth, and he...
Well, or just have a guy with a Santa beard who's an ex-Marine right behind you.
Whoa, wait a minute, Jordan. You said the wrong thing there.
Yeah.
You said the wrong thing, not ex-Marine.
Oh,
Marine. Yeah. Once a Marine, always a Marine.
Hey, I will just keep on giving me things for these future boyfriends. I will use all of it.
One of the things I love, and I still have it upstairs. So I have a round, or some people call them a bullet upstairs. You might want to try this for when the girls get older and start to date.
Cool.
And when a boy comes, you just take that bullet and throw it at him. And he'll say, well, okay. Yeah, throw it at him. Because he's going to ask, well, what'd you do that for? And you say, just remember, if you treat my daughter wrong, you're not going to see the next one coming.
You are so much more masculine than I am. Like, I am literally going to just write you emails every month and just be like, can you just give me a line to make me sound cooler? I'm so impressed. That was stone cold, and I'm in love. That's amazing.
That may be why my daughter is. Never mind. All right, so Jordan, I have 100 questions here. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you all 100 of them. But I need you to pick a number between 1 and 100.
Oh, cool.
Give me time to look for the question. And I don't know how, but somehow or another, the number that my guests have picked aligns with what we've been talking about. So pick a number between 1 and 100 and tell me why you picked that number as I look for the question.
All right. The reason I'm picking this number is because you asked me who's my doppelganger, and I said it's the devil. So we got to go with 66.
Oh, wow.
No one's going to pick that number, I bet.
Well, at first I thought you were going to say 666. I was going to say, Jordan, there's only 100.
Exactly.
Oh, damn. You know what? In a way, this can go hand in hand with what you've been doing.
Boy.
If you could witness any historical event firsthand, which one would it be?
Oh, my gosh. I'm a history dork.
I love that question.
Me too.
Especially since you could write something about it afterwards too.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Any historical event. Oh gosh.
That's a hard question.
That is. History, a bit long. A lot to pick.
Yeah.
I mean, like the low-hanging fruit is stuff like the JFK assassination, a lot of like closed door things. Gosh. Can you tell I have like the brain of a 5-year-old? I think I'm going to go with the extinction of the dinosaurs.
Oh,
Specifically because every time something new comes out about that event, it is the most chaotic, insane horror show of a day, or a couple of days in history. Like they talk about how, carbon went up in the air, immediately crystallized, and then it rained like glass shards down.
Right.
And then certain animals were able to survive because they were like hundreds of meters deep or deep in caves. Look, if I could be there and nothing could happen to me and I could just watch it, I would totally pick that because I feel like everything that you and I see, from ourselves to dogs to the mountain ranges, it all came up as like there's like 2 or 3 days. Like that's the thing, is like they've also recognized, looking at the carbon footprint, that like you could see when the apocalypse happened because there's just like one black line like in the soil.
Yeah.
Like, that would be crazy just to witness and probably put the rest of our days in perspective. Yeah, you know what? Today was a bad day, but it wasn't that bad. It wasn't raining glass from the skies bad.
Wow, Lucifer, you really did.
Yeah, I didn't pick an easy one. How about yourself? Do you have one?
Probably a few. The first thing that came to mind, and it probably came to mind because I'm watching the show now, The Chosen, and that would have to be The Last Supper.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But it's hard. That's a hard question.
That's really tough.
Yeah, because in all honesty, I'm also watching The Last Kingdom, and I watched Vikings before that. To go back during that, there's so many different.
I think there's a running theme though with the ones you just mentioned. The one I just mentioned is like, thank God I live now. Thank God.
Yeah,
I'm not a Viking. Thank God I'm not this. I heard some sort of crazy statistic that like the average lifespan was like 30 up until like 1850 or something. Like the fact that you and I exist is just because we're after 1850 or something like that. It's weird.
Oh, you're giving me a lot of homework. So I got to figure out what characters I would like to be. And then I got to take that and figure out what times in history.
It's great, man.
That I could step back into just to watch.
It's a sign of a good podcast, but also just a new friend. This is great.
Well, you know what? One historical moment I wish I would have been there for. And I'm going to end it on this one. So before I tell that moment, Jordan, I want to thank you so much. It's been a true honor. I cannot wait to have you on again. But the one historical moment I wish I could have been part of was when Jordan Geary got that Emmy.
Oh man, this is cue me blush. It took an entire podcast to get the red and the sweat, and the clammy hands. You did it, John Wayne. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much. Oh no, that ain't John Wayne. That would have been Johnny Cash or Elvis or whoever. Never mind. Thanks a lot, Jordan.
Thank you so much. This is really fun.
Thank you for listening to the Conversations with Rich Bennett. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and learned something from it as I did. If you'd like to hear more conversations like this, be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you have a moment, I'd love it if you could leave a review. It helps us reach more listeners and share more incredible stories. Don't forget to connect with us on social media or visit our website at conversationswithrichbennett.com for updates, giveaways, and more. Until next time, take care, be kind, and keep the conversations going. You know, it takes a lot to put a podcast together, and my sponsors help out a lot, but I also have some supporters that actually help me when it comes to the editing software, the hosting, and so forth. There's a lot that goes into putting this together. So I want to thank them. And if you can, please visit their websites, visit their businesses, support them however you can. So please visit the following. Full Circle Boards. Nobody does charcuterie like Full Circle Boards. Visit them at fullcircleboards.com. Sincerely Sawyer Photography. Live in the moment. They'll capture it. Visit them at sincerelysawyer.com. The Joppatown Lions Club. Serving the community since 1965. Visit them at joppatownlionsclub.org. And don't forget the E at the end of Joppatown because they're extraordinary.